All right, it was just announced UFC 287 will feature the rematch between Israel Adesanya, the last style bender, and the current middleweight champion of the world, Alex Pereira. I mean, come on, listen, I just want to say big shout out to the last style bender. I mean, that is a gangster move. It really is, right? It would have been easy for Israel to sidestep him. Let somebody else step in, fight him, stylistically, maybe an easier matchup, somebody like Robert Whittaker, the man that has the wrestling, take him down, control him, submit him, whatever, ride out 5 rounds. Not an easy thing to do, mind you, but if he could do that, then Izzy could come in and fight Robert Whittaker again, even though they were close fights, he's beaten him twice. But no, Israel isn't doing that. Israel is accepting the offer. He's going in there against a guy that has beaten him 3 times in a row now. The big question is, will it be 4? Now, the UFC just dropped a stunning promo featuring Saw saying it's not about the score, it's about settling the score. And it was absolutely fantastic. Now, as we know, last time out, Izzy looked sensational. He looked fantastic. He did. But it's not how you start. It's how you finish. And it finished with the referee stepping in and calling off the fight because in the 5th round, Pereira found the mark, landing some big shots. Izzy was still on the feet. We know it. You saw it. We know what happened. But Izzy was way ahead. Probably 3 rounds to 1 going into that 5th round, right? Technically, I think he's the better guy. Technically, I think he's faster, more technical, as I just said. But the power of Pereira is the big thing that stands out. So there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot at play. For Israel, as I said, he could have sidestepped this fight. He could have easily just said, listen, I've had a ridiculous schedule. I've been having title fights galore, one after the other. The mental stress, the physical stress, the pressure that I've been enduring for years since I became the champ. I deserve a little time out. I'm going to sit on my ass. I'm going to enjoy the spoils of my riches. I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to let you guys fight amongst yourselves. And then when I've had some time off, I'm going to come back and reclaim the throne. He could have done that. And he would have been excused. And it would have been accepted if he did that. But that's not what he's done. He has said, you know what? No, the bogeyman, my nemesis, my worst nightmare, this guy that beat me in kickboxing twice, followed me to the UFC, TKO'd me in round 5 and took my belt, took my identity to a certain degree. I'm going to step back in there again, right? You got to admire that. You really have. Now, if we're going to talk just about numbers, they're closely matched people, right? Neither guy is so much better than the other guy that it leaps off the page. But Pereira has been able to beat him 3 times. Now, if you want to play the numbers, odds on he's got to beat him at some point. Right? So maybe this will be the one. Maybe that's what Izzy's saying. Maybe Izzy's like, do you know what? I was so competitive and I made a couple of little mistakes, a couple of little tweaks. I know what to do in the rematch and I can beat him. Okay? Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. Maybe Pereira is just a bad matchup for Izzy because he's just as high. He's just as long. He's just as good at kickboxing. He's got bigger power. But the main thing is Pereira's not scared of him. Right? Izzy had some big moments. We know at the end of round 1, landed a huge right hand and a left hook, which was kind of after the bell, but he threw it first. He had some big moments. But the power for Pereira, we knew that going into it. And you just got to look at Pereira. The man is absolutely gigantic, okay? He knows that if he lands, that he can finish Israel. He did it in kickboxing, and now he's done it in the UFC. So that is going to say to Pereira, be more aggressive. Go forward. Back Izzy up against the fence and go for it, because he went for it in round 5 after his coaches and Glover Teixeira and all those people implored him, listen, this is the final round. You've got to go for it, everything you've got. And when he did that, he went out there and he got the finish. But of course, you can't do that. You can't think with your emotions. You can't go out and be wild and just go, I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to swing for the fences. Because if you do that, you're not managing your gas tank properly. You're going to run out of steam. You're going to get tired. And then you're going to fall into Izzy's trap. So yes, Pereira has to be aggressive, but he also has to be calculated in his approach. But look at the last fight and say, right, I caught him by being aggressive when I went for it. So, I mean, what do you think? How does this go down? As I say, I just got so much respect for Izzy because, listen, what he's brought to the octagon has been absolutely fantastic. Right from the start, he set his stall out. He was supremely confident. He wanted to defend the belt more times than Anderson Silva. He never got to do that, okay? But there's no shame in that. Anderson Silva is one of the greatest of all time, okay? But Izzy went on quite the tear, defended the belt so many times and beat almost everyone. He was lapping the opposition. That is why Pereira was fast-tracked to this opportunity. But what goes down in the rematch? You know, what kind of approach can Izzy do differently? We know that Izzy took him down and out-grappled him essentially. I think it was round 2 and round 3. So will Izzy come into this one? Will he do a ton of grappling? Will his ego allow him to do that? Because if he does, then fair play to him. Because it's mixed martial arts. It's not a kickboxing match. But there might be a little part of Izzy that says, you know what? I was beating him on the feet. I was outpointing him. And I want to prove that I can beat him in MMA or a kickboxing fight. My advice to Izzy would be, don't let those demons or that ego get a hold of you. Fight your fight. Use the fight, set up the strikes, and look for takedowns. The takedowns were there. They weren't the best, but they were effective. He had some control time. He landed some good shots. What Izzy could have done better was some control awareness, some positional awareness, position over submission or position over attack. That's generally what they always say. Solidify your position first, lock in the anchor, and then go to work with either submissions or the ground and pound. For Pereira, listen, he needs to work on his takedown defense, and he's got to have a sense of urgency, because that fight could have ended in round 1. Those shots that Pereira took at the end of round 1, if there was another 30 seconds left in that fight, Izzy could have knocked him out. And Izzy knows that. Izzy felt the impact on his gloves. He saw the look on Pereira's face. So that says to him, yeah, okay, I was the better guy. I was the better grappler. I was the better kickboxer. I made a mistake in round 5. I took my foot off the pedal. I allowed Pereira to play his game, whatever you want to call it, back me up against the fence, and he landed some good shots, okay? But to Izzy, he's coming into this one very confident, I would say. And of course, Pereira's coming into it confident. So UFC 287, we have an absolutely ridiculous main event. But for Israel Adesanya, a man that is so proud of his fighting achievements, and rightly so, it's a big one. Because if he loses, I don't think he gets another shot at him. For Pereira, he's new to MMA. Very, very new to MMA, and he's the middleweight champion of the world. And outside of Izzy, I believe there is some tough matchups in terms of grapplers, okay? Because Izzy's got better takedown defense than Pereira. And Pereira's going to get better as his career goes on, as he's around mixed martial arts more, okay? But this is about legacy for Israel Adesanya, because if Izzy loses this fight, I think that's it. That'll be 4 in a row over kickboxing and mixed martial arts for Alex Pereira. Okay, and that will close the book on this rivalry. I'm not saying they'll never fight again, because you never know the way the universe works, the way the division works. Someone might lose a belt, someone wins a few. They might get to go it again. But in terms of a rivalry, it'll be over. It'll be done. Just like DC said, I don't like bringing this up, when John Jones head kicked him in Anaheim, and then Joe Rogan interviewed him and talked about the rivalry. And DC, it was such an honest, beautiful moment from DC. He said, there is no rivalry. The man beat me twice in a row. There's no rivalry there. Well, if Israel Adesanya gets beaten 4 times in a row, I think that's fair to say as well. But that is why Izzy is going to do everything in his goddamn power to make sure that doesn't happen. And that is why I am so excited for this fight. UFC 287, Pereira versus Adesanya. 4-2, whatever you want to call it. I can't wait. Who do you think wins? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe, ring the bell. See you soon.